Let's talk a little bit more about the Houthis and this new designation, calling them terrorists. New for Biden, not for Trump. The Wall Street Journal editorial board with this: Iran and the Houthis don't get Biden's message. Iran and the Houthis are putting American lives at risk, even as the leaders in Iran hide their malevolent intent behind their proxy militias. They probably assume Mr. Biden will never dare to attack Iran's military or domestic assets in a U.S. election year. These are the consequences of failed deterrence, with American servicemen paying the price. Texas Congressman Pat Fallon, who sits on the House Armed Services and Oversight Committees. I want to lean in a bit on this because under former President Trump, we knew they were terrorists. They didn't change. They're just as evil and awful. But now we're in harm's way in the Middle East because of these men.
Well, Harris, you got it exactly right. President Trump projected strength, and our enemies feared him, and our allies respected him. And that's what you want out of a commander-in-chief. Unfortunately, with Joe Biden, one of the first things that his administration did was say, oh, the Houthis, they're not that bad. We're going to play nice. And we're also going to play nice with Iran and see what happens. And I'm sure they'll return the kind gestures. They didn't at all. And now even they won't even designate them a foreign terrorist organization because this lesser designation allows them. I mean, the Houthis, after we're done bombing them, they could actually migrate into this country, which is absurd. And anybody that provides the material support, like the greatest state sponsor of terror, Iran, doesn't get automatically sanctioned. So again, this is half measured from really a legacy of failure from the Biden administration.
So I want to dig deeper into what you just said. So the designation that the White House just gave the Houthi terrorists isn't enough to keep from actually facing them at the border? How does that work?
Yes. Yeah, because it's another half measure. They're kind of terrorists. The worst designation, the strongest designation we have for the worst actors in the world are foreign terrorist organizations. President Trump said the Houthis are foreign terrorist, they're a foreign terrorist organization. They just stopped 50% of all the global shipping through the Red Sea, which is a critical route for commerce. It's a very small world now. So they are the worst of the worst. They are proxies of Iran. So let's call a spade a spade. But Joe Biden, for some inexplicable reason, does not want to do that.
Wow. I thank you for breaking that down. Let's talk a little bit about the vanishing SecDef, who's now thankfully recovering out of the hospital. We're told he's able to work from home for some unknown amount of time under doctor's orders.
Harris, this is like one of those bad B movies with a lazy script. The Secretary of Defense tried to hide a serious illness and was, disappeared for days, if not a week or so, and wouldn't even let the President of the United States know. He's running the Department of Defense. This is it's supposed to be anyway, critical. So we're under the Armed Services Committee, Chairman Rogers, we're looking into it. I think we're going to have hearings on it, which we should, because this is something that I think, quite frankly, he should resign.
Look, I don't know if you can call President Biden to the Hill, but the one question I'd want to ask is why in the world, with everything that's going on right now, the Israel-Hamas war, so much going on, the Houthis taking shots at us, all of the Iran-backed proxies would love to kill our men and women. Why in the world wouldn't you be talking to your Secretary of Defense on a daily basis? That way you won't have a situation where he vanishes. Quick thought.
Well, I mean, Joe Biden is a shadow of who he used to be. He does not have the mental acuity that he had when he was younger. It's sad. It's unfortunate. But that's just, he's unfit to serve as the President of the United States for that reason and all these bad decisions moving forward. So this was a serious, grave error on the Secretary of Defense's part. And I honestly think that, and I will be continuing to call for his resignation.
All right. You're a border state, Congressman, and the border feud between Texas right now and the White House. It's headlines today. It's getting uglier. 3 illegal immigrants died in the Rio Grande, and the White House claims Texas officials blocked border agents from attempting to rescue them by shutting down a part of a public park. A new statement from the Department of Homeland Security contradicts the White House claims. The DHS timeline shows these illegal immigrants were dead before they received a distress call. Your take?
Yeah, it's more lies from the Biden administration on the border. Harris, it's never been worse than it is right now. And those poor folks died, and there's many others that die every year coming to this country because the Mexican drug cartels are controlling each other's border, not the federal government. And it's horrific. So I think, honestly, those folks died because of horrible policies of this administration and Alejandro Mayorkas, the Homeland Security Secretary, not enforcing current immigration laws and not allowing the Customs and Border Protection to do their jobs. I mean, we had never had a month in our history of over 200,000 illegal border crossings. We've had 20 under Joe Biden and 8.5 million encounters in the first 3 years of his presidency. It's unprecedented.
It's almost like there is more of a fight against Texas than there is to actually help the people that they say they want to help at the border. I mean, because anybody who's trying to get here legally is pushed far behind what the drug cartels can do with the illegals, and that's put them at the front of the line or skip the line altogether and come illegally.
Harris, here's a novel approach. Why doesn't the Biden administration take on the Mexican drug cartels instead of taking on Texas? Because Texas has no other choice, and Joe Biden has made every state a border state. Texas, they passed SB4, which makes it a state crime to come into the country illegally.
Yes.
They're putting up barbed wire. They're putting up containers. They have to.
Everything you can do. Congressman Fallon, thank you. Bless you. The state of Texas and all the border states.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.